introduce you to Tony Natale. I've told a couple people in my group this. Tony and I actually were participants together in Houston in 1982. We were a couple years younger than Juanita. We were both 11 at the time, but we were quite precocious. Tony was a state public defender at the time, is that right? He left, went into private practice. In private practice, my children are very impressed with the fact that he represented the Red Hot Chili Peppers while he was in private practice. He then became a federal public defender where he represented Jose Padilla, so he is a known terrorist. I know that when you call him, you're being recorded by the FBI. Two things about Tony. One, when we were in the B group, I tell you this as a challenge. One of the faculty there was telling this story about when an admission is not an admission, and there was a case in which a client was confronted by a police officer, and he responded when the police I'm sorry, Daryl. When the police officer accused him of a crime, the guy said, "That's a bullshit," and they tried to use that as an admission, and the judge allowed it, of course, because the judge, as we all know, is a prosecutor, just trying to help out the side that he used to sit on. And when it went up on to the appellate level, the Court on Appeal, amazingly enough, said that that wasn't an admission, that it was a colloquial expression meaning absurd and fanciful. For our B group, we went to the local mall and got t-shirts that said Group B, absurd and fanciful. Now, Andy Gabaldon said that what I should tell you about Tony is that lawyers dialogue and that people speak, and that Tony is someone who speaks, and that is what we should all aspire to. I will tell you that in the many years since 1982, I cannot count the number of times that I called Tony, who I knew on no other basis than being a participant together, for help on cases, to brainstorm with me, and he always answers the phone. He always speaks, and it's only occasionally absurd and fanciful. So I give you Tony. Thank you.
All right. How many people here have actually conducted a voir dire? Okay. How many people haven't? People from Massachusetts and federal people. Okay. Right. And for my next act. So, now, how many of you, prior to your trial, like immediately, like say the morning before you're going to start a trial, engage in any sort of personal hygiene, like bathing or showering, anything like that? I should see more hands in the Now, how many of you, when you're in the shower and you're all soaked up, vision your closing argument? Huh? How many of you vision your cross-examination where they go, "I did it"? How many do that? Raise your hand. How many visualize your voir dire? You and I are very strange people, you know. Look around, there's not many of us. What I want you to try to do is, we're going to give you here a way of thinking about voir dire, a way of doing it, which is probably really different from what you've heard. Because traditionally, the way most people have been doing voir dire and talking about it is all wrong and screwed up. It's just ridiculous. Judges don't like it, jurors don't like it. So what I want to try to do is talk to you a little bit about, why do you think we voir dire? Anyway, why do you think we want to even talk to these people? What's your name? Jose. Educate. Okay, educate them about what? Okay. What's another reason? Okay. Well, we'll get to Kate.
Expose potential biases or motive, or,
Louder, Kate.
expose potential biases or prejudice.
Okay. Sir, what's your name?
Everett,
Everett. What did you just say?
get the bad guys off.
Get the bad guys off. All right. What else? What's your name?
Tim,
Tim.
you want to know your audience.
Want to know your audience.
Find people who I think are keyed into me and are listening to me,
Okay. People that
that
you
like
think
me, that I relate to, or that I think are relating to me.
you think that are related to. We're going
Right.
to talk about that. Yeah. What's your name?
Leisha,
Leisha.
start planting the seed for your defense.
Planting the seed for your defense. Yeah. What's your name?
Keisha,
Keisha.
yes, people who are sympathetic to my clients,
People who are sympathetic to your clients.
to that kind of client, whatever.
Okay. Maybe we can put these in some categories. We can put them into a category of you want to expose yourself, your client, and the juror. You want to have an exposure of who they are and what their values are. You want to have some way for them to learn, not tell, learn the theory of their case and to get a response from it. You'd also want to, in some ways, empower them, to let them feel that they have some control over this process, they have some control of what went on, and that it's important to them. It's something that they should be invested in, and if nothing else, you may want them to say, God, this is really serious and important. Another thing that you want to do is to find out exactly who you want off, who maybe should not serve on this jury for cause reasons, or who maybe shouldn't serve on this jury for peremptory reasons. So that's another thing, who you want off. There's something else. From your voir dire, you want to get language or situations that allow you to use them in your case. Allow you to use the words or situations that were described in the voir dire, in your closings, in your openings, maybe even in your cross-examinations, so that they understand that you were listening to them and you were communicating in a way that they can relate. So those are the things that we want to achieve. Well, it's like anything, we all have high, expectations. How do we go about doing it? Well, I want to start off by giving you a definition of voir dire. I'm one of these people who, if I know what the definition is, it helps. So, voir dire. It's a guided group interview and discussion of the factual, legal, and emotional issues of your case. Now, some of you are people who say, my judge don't let me get into the facts of the case. Right? How many people were thinking that? Let me see you raise your hand. Okay? How many people didn't even think about that? Uh-huh. Because, have you experienced the judge saying you can't get into the facts? Here's why. There's a case called Powell v. Ohio. We got it right? Powers v. Ohio. And I'll give you the site. It's 111 Supreme Court, 1364. And it says at one of the pages that the voir dire phase of the trial is the juror's first introduction to the substantive facts and legal issues of the case. So, contrary to what we may think, there is a legal basis for what it is we want to do. Now, you're going to say, golly, but how do I do this? Well, everything we do in the courtroom has three components, if it's going to be persuasive. There's a technical component, like the technique. Like, you play tennis, there's the forehand, there's the backhand. There's techniques. There's substance and there's emotion. We're going to talk here during the whole week about different techniques, substance, and the emotion that flows with things. I'm going to focus on voir dire and the techniques that you can use in voir dire in order to